Ajita Marajito's like, don't do it. That sounds super shady. If a special artifact of magic just starts talking to you and is like, hey, go do this, don't do it. But you as the adventurer, you're like, I'm gonna go check it out. Let's chat about why the Summoner quest, including all of its frustrations, is one of the most special in Final Fantasy XI. Look, we've chatted about the Final Fantasy XI job quest before, that it's a rite of passage for anybody that just hit 30 and wants to seek out anything beyond the original 6 that you're provided. Which most of us did at least once. I mean, no offense to all those warrior, monk, black mage mains out there, but you probably thought about being a samurai at least at some point, right? They all have ranging difficulties, objectives, and amount of time investment needed, but none more so than Summoner, which is unique in all 3 aspects. First off, if you're new here, this is Hunt for Games, and if you love conversation topics like this, join us every Tuesday or Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch for a few hours of nostalgic goodness. We talk about this kind of stuff all the time. And if you've been here before, obviously, welcome back. Look, the advanced job quests were all over the place. I mean, some involved just going to a point in the world and you were essentially done. Some involved defeating a difficult enemy. Sometimes you had to defeat 100 enemies with the worst sword in the game. I'm looking at you, Dark Knight. But all had fairly measurable objectives. They had a beginning, middle, and an end. You knew how much time you were going to be doing it and when you were done. Summoner stood apart, and it's one reason that it's so memorable. Look, starting the quest is already really weird. Most quests in Vana'diel, especially for the jobs, you go out to a person in Vana'diel and you're like, hey, I saw you doing ninja stuff. Ninja sounds awesome. Can you teach me to be a ninja? That's a terrible example. I'm pretty sure you just talked to somebody in Bastock and you're like, hey, do you need any help with stuff? And they're like, here's a katana. Maybe I'm remembering that lore wrong. But most of the people I know that started Summoner, at least originally, kind of did it by accident. They were just fighting some leeches and Carbuncle's ruby dropped in their inventory and they're like, what's this? Because random items were always super special and exciting in Vana'diel. You never knew what it might be for, if it was gonna make you unimaginably wealthy or offer you up a piece of gear that you didn't know you could get before. Especially rare items that drop 2% of the time. What? Oh my god. But this kind of way of approaching the Summoner quest, you know, outside of people that sought it out intentionally, just made it kind of feel like Vana'diel chose you. Like it recognized your strength and your power, and it's like, I expect more out of you. Here's the Carbuncle's ruby. It was destiny. It wasn't your decision. It was the game saying you were ready. Here's a Carbuncle. It was also a huge pain, so rarely would any but the most dedicated future summoners even think about attempting it. And leeches aren't really that fun to kill, so for the most part, not everybody was farming them. This all led to summoners being something that players felt like they were meant for, less than something they like sought out. You're not going to Zide and saying, teach me to be a Dark Knight, that seems cool. You're just out there doing stuff in Vana'diel. It was awesome. Then came the usual 11 story aspect. You sought the help of a venerable mage back in Winters to better understand the power of this artifact that you've come across. But instead of the mage, Ajito Marajito, being like, okay, this is what you're gonna do, the ruby just starts speaking to you. You later learn that it's Carbuncle talking to you, and it tells you that you have to go collect the 7 colors of Vana'diel. Mysterious. Ajita Marajito's like, don't do it. That sounds super shady. If a special artifact of magic just starts talking to you and is like, hey, go do this, don't do it. But you as the adventurer, you're like, I'm gonna go check it out. But again, this perpetuates the idea that the quest is being given to you by an outside greater force. Carbuncle, Vana'diel, it's the game saying you are meant for this job, go do it. Yeah, I realize it's kind of corny and cheesy, but like that's how it felt to me. I'm like, this isn't something that an in-game NPC is telling me to do. This is bigger than that. And then comes the actual hard part, which no, was not retrieving this 2% drop rate ruby. You have to go receive all the weather effects. Now, many people that do this quest give up at this stage for months. They kind of go about it with the I'll finish this eventually mindset, which isn't necessarily wrong. They just keep going about their lives in Vana'diel with whatever job they are doing, whatever they happen to be doing. Eventually, they will come across all the weather effects, probably. I mean, it would be kind of fun. It would be hilarious if there's somebody out there that had like, just through random happenstance, had always avoided certain weather effects, and they just like never saw fire, ever. I guess at some point, there is a point at which every new player experiences each weather effect for the first time, right? It's kind of cool. But I'm getting ahead of myself. For those of you who don't know, the objective is to get all of the 7 weather effects, clear sky, and then like ice, fire, water, wind, earth, heart, I don't know, there's 7. One's clear skies. That's where 7 comes in. You have to zone in or, log out, log back in while the weather effect is active. You can't just sit in the zone and wait for it to happen. I've tried it. It does not work. Why this is so difficult is that certain weather effects, fire, are a little less common than you'd think. I mean, for all of us that have experienced all those blazing hot Valkyrie Dunes days, you're like, this has to happen all the time. No, it's actually incredibly rare, and it turns out it's affected by in-game date and season. Yeah, there's a passing of seasons that affects which weather effects, especially heat and ice, you can experience in different zones. I had no idea. If you haven't yet, check out the video I did last week on in-game seasons in Vanadil. I'm always shocked to the depths at which Final Fantasy XI had these cool little hidden secrets. It's 2020, I'm still learning new things about this game. That's awesome. I'll include the link in the description below and a card up in the corner above. But yeah, even with outposts, teleports, all the different ways that you can traverse Vanadil, it's kind of hard. You have to enter the zone when the weather effect is active, meaning you have to kind of seek it out actively. The weather reporters around Vanadil could help, but they're in different spots and each only has a subset of the zones that they'll give you weather reports of. They'll only tell you 3 in-game days out, and they're not perfect. So you can't be like, when is the next fire weather going to happen, Sir Tar? They won't tell you that. They'll be like, tomorrow's sunny, the next day is going to be a little rainy, the day after that's going to be sunny, and you're like, guess I failed again. But yeah, they weren't flawless. Occasionally they'd miss a weather effect or they'd say it was gonna rain and it didn't rain. They're kind of like real weather reporters. It's actually hysterical. And then you gotta look at it from the perspective of newer players that don't have all the outposts, they don't have teleports, they don't have a ton of ways of getting around Vanadil. Some of these are really hard to get to. What if you didn't have Kazam yet and you had not been through the caves to get to the Altepa Deserts? You may not get fire weather until you happen to randomly get it in Valkyrie Dunes way down the line. I went on a rant about weather for a little bit there, but this all kind of brings back to the idea that this isn't a job that's necessarily meant for a level 30 white mage, that's their highest new level job. This is a job meant for characters that have immersed themselves in Vanadil, they've played for, a little while, and now Carbuncle has recognized their strength and says, you and me, buddy, it's time for you to advance to something greater. It almost kind of set itself above the other jobs. And I'm sure all the other career jobs out there are like, Summoner's not better than me. Nah, that's not what I mean. But you know what I'm saying? This is why it was so special. Because even for players like me that have played for so long, I had all the outposts. I still just started this quest at the wrong time. I started it in-game winter, and I had to wait 6 real-life days before fire weather finally showed up. And I went into this quest knowing exactly what was expected of me and how hard it was going to be. I just didn't realize it was winter. And I spent a lot of time over the next 6 days trying to get fire weather. If I wasn't actively pursuing and trying as hard as I had been, it could have taken a lot longer. A week might not seem like that much, but for these job quests, they normally took hours, if that. You're all excited about the new job, you hear some cool thing that samurais can do, you're like, I'm gonna go try out samurai quick. And within the next hour or two, you're playing samurai. With Summoner, it's like, maybe next week. This will be fun. Again, all this lends to why the Summoner quest was just so special for me. It felt more like you're becoming part of the world, less so than you're finishing a quest. It was a huge pain, yes, but that's part of what made it so rewarding, and it formed this brotherhood of summoners, this bond where you're like, hey, you're a summoner, I know that crap you went through, I did too. You and me, man. And look, not all struggled quite as hard. Some people got fire weather immediately because they started the quest at the right time and they just got lucky. That happens. Everyone got there somehow, but it was all part of the experience. You had to go every corner of Vanadil to get these weather effects. And in the old forms of travel with slow walk speed and chocobos and outpost warps, it could be a struggle. Perhaps you disagree that. Perhaps you're saying this quest wasn't special, it wasn't interesting, and it was just annoying and flawed in how it approached the concept of difficulty. I totally get that. I would love to hear your thoughts on why it is or isn't as special as I seem to think it is in the comments below. Or, like I said, join us on Twitch Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bring your comments there, we can chat about it for hours. Also, would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below on which job quest you think deserves a little more credit than it usually gets. For any of you about to stay Dragoon, I totally agree. Still write it. I want to hear your thoughts, but oh man, that quest is so good. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in more videos like this, think about subscribing. And if you already have, don't forget to click that little bell next to the sub button to get notified when new videos go live. Hit me up in the comments with your thoughts on this video, or come hang out and chat with me on Twitch every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And definitely look me up on Twitter or Instagram and Hunt for Games to keep up with what else I've got going on. See ya.